This morning, we started the day with me delivering our State of the College address. And as part of that, one of the things that I referred to was our college as the cornerstone college for The Ohio State University. And that when our university came into being, how important the role of our college was, and of course, in my opinion, still is. Congratulations to the ACEL department. We're enormously proud to have such a distinguished department as part of our college community. Happy birthday.
We're going to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about the history of our department from those of us who've had the opportunity to lead it.
So the issue was staffing the department. And this took place in the first 4 or 5 years of the time that I was chair. Also during this time, another challenge was for faculty in general, or universities in general, particularly in departments where the faculty had been male white persons. And the issue was for diversity of faculty in terms of gender, in terms of ethnic background, etc. So therefore, the first job was to, in effect, hire a number of faculty members and restaffing the department and deal with the issue of diversity among faculty.
Not only did this department have a great history of stability of faculty, long-serving faculty, distinguished long-serving faculty, but it had had a tradition of long-serving administrators. 30 years for the first one, 30 years for the second one, 8 years for Professor Warmbrode, and after 3 I was kicked out, so I don't have a lot to report. But it was, I would say, during that time, we all came to realize that the trajectory of the department, particularly in graduate education, was forever changed because of Bob Warmbrode and the research series that he developed.
So when I became department chair, interim department actually, in 1989, my very first act, it was the first week of August in 1989, as the new department chair, I got to meet with the college administration and sign 3 pieces of paper to send a lot of money back to them because the state was bankrupt again, and the easiest place to cut funding in a state is higher education because nobody ever notices that, I guess. Well, we noticed that. So they were tough financial times.
The other struggle that I would say that I had, and again, I think Tracy is going to refute that the tide has turned, but over the course of my 7.5 years as chair, our budget never increased, decreased every year, and sometimes twice a year. We would have mid-year cuts that we got to enjoy. So that was always a struggle to figure out, where you were going to save money that you didn't have anyway. So, some struggles that we had to deal with, obviously, but it was an interesting time. On the success side or the achievement side, mine comes down to people. Again, I would echo what these two have said, that you enjoy the people that you get to work with.
But one of my, if I would say first, the struggles that the department might have had back during my time was I was hired by a guy named Bobby Mosier. Is Dr. Mosier here right now? No, he's not. And as soon as he hired me, he retired. And then they brought in Bruce McPherron. And so what I said I did as a department chair, a responsibility I had for the faculty in the college, was what I call the dean seam. The dean seam. I was between deans. I came in under one dean thinking I had him fooled, and then he retires on me. And I had a new dean come in who just now is your provost and is gone, so I can say these things. And I spent a lot of time working with Bruce, convincing him of the importance and the prominence of this department. And I think I did a pretty good job, seeing that we're still here tonight celebrating. And he was welcome to come see us, and he greeted me warmly. And so it was the dean seam time that I had, representing to our faculty, to our college administrators, and above, what this department is, and the core, and the love, and the heart, and the soul of the place.
We could go a long time tonight and really garner a great deal of history. But, from my perspective, I would probably echo Dr. Birkenholtz in saying that when I sat in the chair's office the first day, there were real weights on my shoulders, and I felt them because of the folks that come before me. And I think one of the legacies of this department has been the leadership of this department. And so we are really blessed to have had such wonderful leadership in the folks that are here, those who served in interim roles during that time, during important transitions. And so I really appreciate what you've done to make sure that we're having a great celebration tonight because of you all, your leadership, and then, of course, the faculty, staff, and students that you had the opportunity to lead. Please join me in thanking our department chairs for joining us this evening.
Now imagine, if you will, a group of students and alumni who are sitting around a fire talking about their time at Ohio State. What would they say to each other? What stories would they share? What advice would alumni give to students, and how would students talk about how things have changed? This evening, we have 4 students and 4 alumni who will be sitting around that figurative fire, and will have the opportunity to eavesdrop on that conversation.
Why did you choose Ohio State and this department?
Well, it all started with a VOAG teacher, Welch Barnett. I don't know if there's anybody in here that knew Welch Barnett, but he was my freshman ag teacher. And I had a lot of respect for him. He had high expectations, and he inspected to make sure I did it, and I respect that person.
The question is, how did you find a major? Because, it's always that first year is where do you fit, and what do you want to do with your time at Ohio State? And again, just as John said, right place, right conversation at the right time. It was a meeting with Kurt Paulson, who would become my advisor, but it was just one of those meetings where you're matching. You feel like you fit, and you feel like, wow, this is an area where I can combine what I enjoy doing, and somebody's saying, hey, you're pretty good at this, and they recognize some talent, and it just gives you that little nudge, that little bit of confidence that you need to take the next step, and I'll forever be grateful for that.
So when you're younger, and I remember I was really young, and somebody asked me, what did I want to do when I grew up? And normally when you're that young, people say, like, I want to be a princess or an Olympian or a police officer. And I was like, I want to be a dairy farmer. And, well, that did kind of change a little bit over the years, but I always knew that I wanted to work in agriculture, but I didn't really know where I wanted to go with that. And when I was about a junior in high school, I was talking to my dad about it, and he goes, well, have you thought about AgCom? And I was like, no, what's that? And so he's talking to me about it, and he goes, well, you like to write and design things and take pictures and talk to people. And he's like, well, that's kind of what AgCom does. And I was like, okay. So I looked into it a little bit more, and I was like, wow, this sounds like a good fit for me. And then I started looking into Ohio State because that's where all my families come, and I really wanted to come here anyways. And I was like, oh, wow. So not only is this the place for me, but this is, I think Ohio State has one of the very best AgCom programs in the country. So I was like, well, that's kind of a perfect fit. So that's how I ended up here.
Throughout high school, Mr. Joel Albright, an OSU alum, was very almost forceful in encouraging me to come to Ohio State. So my sophomore year of high school, I decided that I was going to visit Wilmington first, just because I could. And while I was there on a visit, I was like, oh, college sounds cool. All right. It wasn't until I came on and experienced Ohio State for a day visit that I really felt as if I was being personally invested in by the people here at Ohio State, and specifically the people within our department. I remember seeing familiar faces walking up to our department and having them remember me and know my name, and that was just super exciting because they had taken the time to learn about me from my experiences in 4-H and FFA, and wanted to continue to invest in my success throughout my college and into my future career.
Just like all of you, any success that I've enjoyed in my career is due in large measure to the fact that I'm a graduate of The Ohio State University in agricultural education. The faculty we had the privilege of learning from over the years, whether it was 50 years ago or just last week, has provided us with a firm foundation in whatever career pathway we've chosen. ACEL has been and continues to be a shining star in the college, at OSU, across the country, and around the world. And as Dr. Warmbrode just said in the video, ACEL has a bright future. When Dr. Susie Whittington and I were asked to chair the development committee for the Celebrating Futures effort, we readily agreed. And by the way, you saw Dr. Whittington on the video. She's not here this evening. Her husband, Dr. Pat Whittington, is receiving the Distinguished Alumnus Award from the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences at the University of Idaho this weekend. So Susie is with Pat in Moscow, the one in Idaho. Okay, yeah. Tonight, we launch the Centennial campaign funding for ACEL. As several of us collaborated in determining the proposed use of the funds, the bottom line is simple: to support student learning. Whether it's a scholarship fund and direct support, or program enhancement, or faculty development, the revenue from this new endowment will drive student development activities. Admittedly, we've set a lofty goal: $2 million, which will generate about $80,000 annually every year for varied programs. But we know it's reachable, and we are off to a great start. To reach that goal, gifts would need to average about $1,000 per alumnus. But like Garrison Keeler's Lake Wobegon, all of our alumni are above average. So we know that, thank you very much. So we know that $2 million really is within reach over time. During this quiet phase of the campaign, we've contacted a few alumni to help us establish the endowed fund and to get us started off on the right foot. We extend a hearty thank you to those who've already stepped forward with a pledge or gift. You see their names on the screen like right now. There they are. Along with those who also contributed to the Centennial Planning Fund under the direction of then Department Chair Gary Strackwedine. So these are early adopters and early adapters, and we appreciate that. And we are now at a fund total of $106,000. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So tonight we launch the Centennial campaign. It's our hope that you will join those who have already made a financial commitment by giving to the ACEL department in this meaningful and historic way. We'll never have another Centennial, so this is our chance to make it a celebration for all to remember, and with your support, we will make it happen. Thank you for your loyalty over the years. Thank you for your consideration in helping us ensure an even brighter future for our academic home. And go Bucks.
All right, if everyone would please grab a glass. A toast.
A toast to our humble beginnings of preparing vocational agriculture teachers.
A toast to our expansion into extension education and community leadership as fields of study.
A toast to the inclusion of agricultural communication to connect our industry with the broader population.
And to the future, may we continue to cultivate our future and the future of our students and those in our industry and profession. Cheers.